Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers act and say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl, somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick. With a forceful grip, they force a misinfo that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it, if news anchors informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, we porting ships important. Yes, of course it is, what extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informing this, informing this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers act and say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?
Oh, hey, what's up, guys? Dude, I don't know what's going on. It just went black. The screen just went black while the intro's playing. I don't know what's going on. In a world where Austin cannot use any streaming service, XRP just hit 28 cents. Yeah. I told you it's going to correct to the 30s, bro. They call me Ostradamus. So, in a world where we may enter the golden dawn. And who's going to lead us into this golden dawn? Well, the dawn. Isn't it funny that people call themselves like a don? They're like, dude, he's a don, I'm a don. Where does that come from? I wonder. What does that mean? You're a don. This dude was like an icon for success. Yeah, what a clown world. Oh, I guess we could cover some of the crazy nonsense that's going on today. I don't know. Maybe this should be the place everyone can escape from the nonsense. Of course, we'll cover that at the end. We'll cover some of the details of the craziness and clown world at the end. Thinking about some merchandise ideas, speaking of clown world. Tell me you wouldn't rock that. I think it's awesome. Yep. You gotta go spread the truth. Rock the clown world shirt. But yeah, they stormed the Capitol building, because you could just easily storm past all the security at the Capitol building. That makes a lot of sense. Checks out. This is all PSYOP. So, I don't really know what to say, but if you don't think So wait, you saying you wouldn't rock this? What are you talking about? Are you saying that this isn't super fresh? Oh yeah. If that's not cool, I don't know what cool is. So I guess you could make an argument there, maybe. So anyway, in a world, we'll cover the clown world nonsense later. Who cares? I mean, I click on a video to try and get a little clown world update so I can talk to you guys. And I watched live Trump giving the speech right before the whole ordeal, and then it goes to Mike Pence. I actually watched that live. I was like plugged into the nonsense mainstream live for a small amount of time, and it was just baffling. It was ridiculous. This is just such a clown world. So we'll talk about that in a minute. Obviously, as to the title, I'm not backing down on my prediction. Oh, you mean even on the day where they still haven't made Trump the president, and this is when they're supposed to verify the electoral votes? Are you crazy? No, I think bro retains power. If he doesn't, then he comes back 2024 for 8 years. 8 years. But I don't know. There's a few possibilities we'll cover. And it'll just naturally come up as we get into some of the gravy. So anyway, the Golden Dawn. What is that? Well, what is gold? What's at dawn? Light. The sun. Okay. What's the difference in light and the sun? That's a whole nother stream. That's a lot of gravy. Because it appears that you can actually see light during the morning prior to the sunrise. During this time, though, there will be no shadows cast with the light that's present. And if you look at the scriptures, there was light, and then the sun was made on the fourth day. I don't know. That's a lot of potential gravy. So what's the difference in sun and light? The morning star is a mistranslation. That's not what it actually says. We'll get into it. Alright, let me just come over here and share this screen to you lovely ladies and gentlemen. Bada bing. Bada bang. How do I just make it? Oh yeah, like that. Alright, let's get into it. So like we're talking about, what is light? Where does light come from? What's the sun? Is there a differential? So of course, throughout all of history, light has been attributed to none other than the sun. Of course, just a side note here, they want you to believe that when you see the sun set, look how beautiful that is. Every single time you see a sunset, it's just incredibly beautiful. They want you to believe that, well, the sun doesn't actually set, it stays still. It's actually you falling backwards that makes it look like that. Anyway, as opposed to entertaining the remedial mental midget nonsense that is the globe earth postulations, we're going to get into the gravy. So sun's always been worshipped, and it's always been tied into the idea of light, which has always been tied into the idea of knowledge. When you say always, Austin, what do you mean? Oh, I mean always. That's right. Atlantis. Some of you may think Atlantis is just a fairy tale. But then again, some of you may think the government put fluoride in your water to make sure that you have pretty teeth. So Atlantis, antediluvian era civilization, of course means nothing more than pre-flood. Is this really Atlantis that they found underneath the ocean? I don't know. I don't make claims like that. I just wanted you to know, have an idea of what we're talking about, which is Atlantis. Where's Atlantis? So they're the first sun priests, sun worshippers, right? So what did we get from them? You know, Austin, was Atlantis real? No way, Atlantis was real. Okay, so look at this little creepy psychopathic grappler. I guess it was just cool to walk around half naked, being like a legit pedophile. It was just cool. It was just accepted. You know how like it's accepted nowadays to be a little soy boy gamma melt and run around being loud? Yeah, I guess it was just cool back then to be a legit pedophile, psychopathic drug addict. And no, I'm not talking about Joe Rogan. So, alright, anyway, looking at some of the stuff that your boy Socrates had to say. According to the Egyptians, or rather what Plato described, Crietus, reporting what his grandfather was told by Solon, who heard it from the Egyptians, once upon a time there was a mighty power based on an island in the Atlantic Ocean. This empire was called Atlantis, and it ruled over several other islands and parts of the continents of Africa and Europe. Atlantis was arranged in concentric rings of alternating water and land. The soil was rich, the engineers technically accomplished, the architecture extravagant with baths, harbor installations, and barracks. The central plain outside the city had canals and a magnificent irrigation system. Atlantis had kings and a civil administration as well as an organized military. Their rituals matched Athens for bull baiting, sacrifice, and prayer. Okay, of course, we know the importance of the bull. It's Bel worship. And again, it goes all the way back to Atlantis, as does the sacrifices. Okay, right here we have the irrigation system. Now, it's known once you really look into it, as I've covered already in a few streams. All the noble classes from back in the day were actually Aryans. The noble classes scattered throughout seem to consistently have been Aryans, and throughout all the world they attributed this group of people with advanced irrigation systems, teaching other societies and civilizations how to implement advanced irrigation systems, even though this is an antediluvian era. So whenever it says there's nothing new under the sun, I'm pretty sure it's being literal, guys. No, there's no way, because I have an iPhone where I'll just watch Runaways get plowed in square all day, Austin. I'm the special boy. We have to be the most advanced because I'm the special boy. But then, it waged an unprovoked imperialistic war on the remainder of Asia and Europe. When Atlantis attacked, Athens showed its excellence as the leader of the Greeks, the much smaller city-state, and the only power to stand against Atlantis. Alone, Athens triumphed over the invading Atlantean forces, defeating the enemy, preventing the free from being enslaved, and freeing those who had been enslaved. Okay, is Atlanta based on a real thing? It's clearly a parable. This is what you call Grabylonian nonsense. So anyway, this is the secret, right? This is the Gnostic secret. They think they're special boys. They think that they actually even track some of their blood back to the civilizations and bloodlines that go back to the very original inhabitants and sun priests at Atlantis. They think the original illuminated civilization prior to the flood. This is the antediluvian climax of society, and this is the Gnostic crux and foundation of what they think makes them little special boys. So what is also attributed to, once again, the Aryans that are tracked back to the city of Atlantis is the swastika. A very demonized symbol, as we all know. Here's the swastika all over the world. Poland, Navajo, Tibet, Peru. It's just all over the world. So Iran, of course, was directly translated to Aryan. Italy, Aztec, Ethiopia, Japan. I mean, Israel, of course. So this symbol's been demonized, but in the early 1900s, here's an article even by the freaking mainstream BBC in 2014, how the world loved the swastika until Hitler stole it, who was actually the very genealogy of the group of people he claimed to hate, apparently. Anyway, here's a picture of an American U.S. Army Boeing in the early 1900s with a swastika on it. So we have been lied to. This symbol has been demonized. Again, this is because it tracks back to the Aryans, and who they track them back to Atlantis. And this is all covered in my stream. Let me come over here. Oh yeah, it's all covered in one of my streams a couple weeks ago where we talk about the mark and we talk about the symbolism, etc., etc. So just so you understand this premise here, I think I found a good way to kind of break it down so everyone understands the macro of what's going on here, okay? So we have the Luciferian Doctrine. This is the idea of being enlightened. Lucifer is actually just a title, so the light bearer. Okay, there was a practical application sense of the word, right, or connotation of the word, meaning like the group of people that would literally walk around in the dark. They would have one person in the front that would hold the light. Of course, it's even deeper than that. It's the bearer of the illumination that is knowledge as it applies to oneself, mastering duality, and say the Hermetic principles, okay? And thus ultimately achieving alchemy of oneself, transmutation. and reaching God's state or Godhood via the embodiment of enlightenment. Yeah, trust me, I know it sounds ridiculous. Trust me, I get it. But this is what they think legit makes them special. And I just paraphrased it pretty damn well, if I'm going to be honest with you. That is legit what it is. It's the whole trick. Alright, so here's the point. You know, you have the duality. So people, they will see, for example, Trump, as it applies to tonight's stream, right? What they will see is him do things that whenever they view the binary, which it will be a false binary, as all the intricacies are, once they view the binary, Trump's position will be right. It will be the right position. Okay? It will be the morally right position. Okay, so what we have is a group of people that are sunken in depravity, blatantly evil, degenerate, and sunken in depravity. This is the dark. Okay, now the people that run around as leftists, they are not like special and have some occultic knowledge. Of course not. They're actually typically really low IQ morons. But the point I'm making is, from the macro, you got this side over here. This is dark. Okay? To understand what you're looking at, it's do as thou wilt. So do as thou wilt. That's the overarching ideology. Do as thou wilt. We've all heard it. It's always been attributed to Satanism, pentagrams, candles, and sacrificing chickens and babies. Okay? Do as thou wilt. Now, you have dark and you have light. Now, we have people sunken in depravity promoting the ideology, promoting the worldview and structure of society that pertains to do as thou wilt. Do whatever you want to. Identify as a spaceship if you want to. We'll change your birth certificate to a spaceship because you can do as thou wilt. So run around being a little scuzzy, hooking up with literally any guy that gives you attention for more than 5 consecutive minutes. Once you become impregnated, you can just kill the baby. It's your body. It's your life. Do as thou wilt. Do as thou wilt, right? And that's what all of these ideologies are. For the analogy, we'll say the modern left. Okay? It's do as thou wilt. I don't care if someone's gay, do as you want to. I don't care if they're gay either, but I don't have to promote it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to pretend to like it. Right? And so we have the dark. Trump's side right now is representing the light. It will masquerade as light. Okay? And so that's the whole trick here. You have to view all of this with that lens. It's like, oh, the psychopath on the, if Trump is actually a malevolent figure that's here to implement some type of plan to trick us, which he clearly is, you can't, then someone wants to think, oh, does that mean that these leftists have been right or are right? No, they're still wrong. They're on the side of darkness, but the light side is still within the do as thou wilt box. Okay? So hopefully I broke that down where it's making sense. So there's a difference, but there isn't an overall difference. And so understanding that is going to be important moving forward. Oh yeah, in a world. Alright. Oh, I didn't share with audio. Here we go with the boomer tactics. You know, sometimes things happen, guys. So we're going to take this out of here. I mean, I think everyone understands that, right? I don't think that's confusing. The psychopaths that go around defending murdering defenseless babies, I mean, come on, yeah, they're on the dark side. They're not right because Trump isn't actually good. Surely my point is coming across here. You can only share. What is going on? What is it like? Wait for it. Wait for it. Where did it go? Maybe this is it. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, so we're gonna piece this all together. You have to keep what I just broke down in the macro. It's for your trip. Don't say my last name, please. Okay. Thank you for the $2 super chat. I don't know what you're referencing. Unless you sent something on Cash App or PayPal. Well, I'm way down here on the chats. But alright, I will not say your last name, but thank you for the super chat, bro. And what we're going to do now is get into the gravy. Everyone keep in mind what I broke down for you. Okay, so very simply, it's very simply. Oh, what up, Bob? Bob's Legend. Here we go, so everyone understands what we're about to get into. They have to understand. There's an overarching ideology. It is do as thou wilt. You can call it Luciferian ideology. The first rule of Luciferian ideology is there is no Luciferian ideology. That is what they all know within the Brotherhood. This is not just the Masonic Brotherhood. It's just, so you understand for intents and purposes, the Brotherhood of Illumination. Okay? So you have do as thou wilt. And you can do whatever you want to within this do as thou wilt. That's what it means, right? Do as thou wilt. Including running around having sex with every stranger, getting impregnated, then murdering a defenseless baby that had nothing to do with it, and then justifying it by body autonomy, ironically stripping the body autonomy of, once again, a literal defenseless baby. You can justify the depravity of just crazy, insane amounts of sexual partners and sodomy and because it's do as thou wilt. Right? If the ends justify the means, go ahead and do it. Right? So there you go. You have the dark modern left. Okay, it's just sunken in depravity. They don't like Trump, but for all these crazy reasons, and they say do as thou wilt, even if that means identify as an inanimate object. You can do that. Now we have the other side. Now they're like, don't kill the defenseless babies. No, you can't be a spaceship. You psychopath. You have chromosomes. No, you're not a spaceship. No, I'm not going to call you some weird pronoun. No, what are you talking? No, I'm not going to not call you the pronoun that you are. Okay, but it's like being the fastest kid with no legs. It's like, oh, you didn't. It's like somehow you get a pass for not murdering defenseless babies. It's like, no, that's just a bare minimum, bro. I think that might just be like the bare minimum acceptance of like decency, right? Not murdering defenseless babies. And then cheering about it. And being proud about it. And then continuing to do it. Bragging. So, there you go. Now you understand. You got do as thou wilt. You got the dark and the light. You can do whatever you want to. But the idea of the light is just becoming enlightened. Achieving a godhood light state. Okay, so what we're experiencing now will be the masquerading of light, dark light, duality. Broke it down a few times for you. Because now you understand how this pertains to the topic today, which it is all about light. And then we can even get into the technical aspect of light, which just bewilders the stupidity that is mankind. And I don't mean that disrespectful, I just mean that the arrogance of humans have made them very dumb. Anyway, I think I shared the audio. Hopefully we won't have an echo. Let's check it out. Oh, in a clown world. I can't do that. I just like, in a world. Alright, so check this out. This is up with this picture, dude sitting on a little toy lion, and we know what that represents. We'll get into potential gravy. What is this character? Are we off the mark with this being the son of perdition? I don't know. A lot of potential gravy there, though. In a world where we do not know what's going on ever, we can just wake up the next day and it's almost a different world. But since it's such a clown world at this point, there is nothing that can surpass the lunacy that is every day in clown world. So it just becomes the norm. I think it is a funny idea for a merchandise. I don't know why I have so many people over here trying to hate on it, bro. We're rocking this. I'm gonna make another shirt that's like, I want to get hoodies and sweatpants and shirts, and people want me to make hats, and I want to make also a shirt and maybe even a hoodie with the clown world on it. You can get the clown world, or you can get just something simple, like it's just gonna say unplug on it or something like that. Okay, so everyone cool your jets. It's not just gonna be the clown world. If you're not cool enough to rock the obviously incredibly hilarious shirts, it's okay. I still love you guys. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna move on to the next part of the gravy. The part there is you saw that was, of course, Trump's tower, the 66th floor, mind you. All right, so we're gonna come over here. Description of Trump's $10.5 billion apartment. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump fairy tale New York apartment situated on the 66th floor of the Trump Tower is worth about $100 million. So as you just saw, it was all kinds of gold. This has it laid out for you. We've covered this a few streams back, but you got some woman being captured by an angel. This of course, is a statue of, I don't know how to say the names, so Eros and Psyche. Of course, this tracks back to the story of Cupid. Nevertheless, it's just pagan polytheistic nonsense, and it's literally an angel, basically, taking a woman against her will. Oh, I don't know what that could represent, other than, oh, the watchers that came down and took the women against their will. Anyway, we of course have Greek faces and Athenian style back here. That's probably just random coincidence of this billionaire. We have the duality of the two towers, of course. Apollo led in his chariot. So we have a painting of Apollo. That's kind of weird. This is representing the sun in the center of the cylinder. Of course, you have an inversion. There's a part of this that has a mirror, as you see, as above, so below. Okay, and all kinds of gold, of course. Like I said, this represents the sun, the chandelier. Now you're going to come down here. And where's the chandelier over here? Oh, who is this guy? Oh, that's Apollo riding in the clouds. And this is the little corner that Melania gets. And here is some nonsensical, probably overpriced, inflated idea of diamonds being valuable. So now we're going to move on. Okay. I don't know if I can just play this because I feel like there's going to be an echo. Y'all tell me if the sound's okay. How about that? Y'all tell me if y'all can hear any sound. Try and be quick on the trigger. In a world.
The Colossus of Rhodes. This massive statue of the Greek god Helios was erected in Rhodes in 280 BC. It stood as a symbol of Rhodes' victory over Cyprus, placed at the entrance to Rhodes Harbor, much like the Statue of Liberty that stands as a prolific symbol of American freedom. So too did the Colossus of Rhodes over 2,000 years ago. Built with a bright facade of bronze and standing 110 feet tall, it would have been one of the tallest vertical structures in ancient times. In terms of the design of the structure, an architect named Chairs of Lindos developed the plan to construct this 110-foot sculpture. It would have developed many small sculptures of the structure to which the full-sized bronze panels were scaled off of. It's speculated that this brilliant ancient architect never lived to see the project completed. According to various accounts, the internal support of the structure was much like one would have expected given the construction techniques of the time. Several stone pillars were used as supports and iron beams were connected from the stone base and pillars to the external bronze plates. The statue was built on the edge of the harbor, which would have meant that
This is, of course, the Colossus of Rhodes. This is a statue revering Helios. Of course, we were just talking about the sun god, also known as Apollo, flooded in Trump's tower. Moving on.
Construction access was likely only viable from one side. It's speculated that a large earthen ramp was used to slowly place much of the framework for Colossus. Based on the height of the large figure, however, a ramp that stretched to the top of the structure simply would have been impossible. This leads to the belief that wooden scaffolding might have been used in the construction.
No one cares. So anyway, just so we know where we're all at here, you got the ultimate source of light as is known to humans, at least. I think there's a differentiation because it was actually made on the 4th day, but this goes back to ancient worship as far back as you can track, all the way back to Atlantis, in fact, the antediluvian era, which just means pre-flood, which is special boys think they track their bloodlines back to the Aryan race, which tracks back to the Atlantis race. Of course, Atlantis was known to be an island of illumination, and this is where occultic sex magic with a K comes from. This is where the importance and understanding of the swastika comes from. Of course, the swastika was all around the world, and again, I did a stream called the People Removed, I believe is what it's called, where we break down that all the noble classes of ancient civilizations scattered throughout the world actually were Aryans, and what this typically meant in description was fair skin, blue eyes, blonde hair, or red hair. Even if the population didn't look like that, typically the nobility class did. Nevertheless, what they brought with them was how to use double bows, how to domesticate horses, advanced immigration systems, and of course, our irrigation systems, not immigration, advanced irrigation systems, and they taught them sex magic and occultic rituals. So we have India, Russia, Germany, USA, it just keeps going on. Iraq, Iran, Poland, all around the world, okay? And then we went through, of course, Atlantis being described by this creepy little psychopathic pedophile known as Socrates, which, of course, where we get the Socratic. We actually attribute the method of just asking questions to one another to get a base ground and middle ground of understanding to this creepy grabbler and called it the Socratic method. It's just called having intellectual exchange. We don't have to invoke this creepy psychopathic pedophile, I don't think. But anyway, swastikas, Aryans. Okay, even in the early 1900s, U.S. Army Boeing has a swastika on it. This has been recently demonized with this entire psychological operation that was World War II. And of course, this guy was demonized. And so if you want to tie it all together, we will in a second. So if you understand the duality I broke down to you when it comes to do as thou wilt. Okay, we watched 66 Tower, right? A bunch of gold. What's up with this guy? Who's this guy? Who's the real last president? I don't know. We'll get into it. Okay, Colossus of Rhodes is, of course, a statue that was built in ancient times, and it was built revering Helios. Okay, let's move on.
Today we'll be learning more about the Statue of Liberty.
We are the keepers of the flame of liberty. We hold high tonight for the world to see, a beacon of hope, a light unto the nations.
Located in New York Harbor, the Statue of Liberty is a depiction of the Roman goddess of freedom. Dedicated in a large ceremony on October 28, 1886, the statue's official name is Liberty Enlightening the World. Originally a gift from the citizens of France, she was designed by French sculptor Frédéric Bartholdi. Law professor Edouard René de la Boulaye is credited with the idea of a shared statue between the French and the Americans. The statue was meant to commemorate the U.S. centennial and the ideals that both France and the United States shared of freedom and democracy. However, only her right hand and torch were finished by 1876, and both were displayed at the American
Probably just a coincidence. The first part they built was this, huh, guys? Was the grabbler hand and torch.
Shared of freedom and democracy. However, only her...
Oh, just a coincidence the first part they built was the torch, which is about illumination. Oh, okay. Oh, an Ostradamus t-shirt. We gotta make Ostradamus t-shirts. Shout out to Swixt in the chat for the great idea. The problem is, guys, I was looking into it today, the upfront cost for the merchandise. Oh, it just sucks, man. Anyway, in a world where they told you that the Statue of Liberty was somehow female, the first thing that they built was actually the shout out to the Luciferian idea that Prometheus brought fire and illumination and enlightenment to the people.
Right hand and torch were finished by 1876, and both were displayed at the American Centennial Exhibition. Lady Liberty, as she is often called, is represented wrapped in robes. In her right hand, she carries a torch meant to symbolize the light of reason. Her left hand is carrying a book of laws that is marked with the date the Declaration of Independence was signed.
Wow.
From the base of the statue to the top of the torch, she measures 151 feet in height. That height is doubled by the pedestal on which she stands. Built on an iron support structure, the Statue of Liberty's skin is made of copper. Originally the color of copper, by 1900 the statue's exterior had begun to change color. Eventually, the decision was made to leave this patina on the statue, and today she is the pale green color we know and love. The statue's armature was designed by the same man who designed France's Eiffel Tower. Alexandre Dustache's armature...
Hey, what's this represent going up the middle? Oh, your genetic structure.
Designed by the same man who designed France's Eiffel Tower, Alexandre Gustave Eiffel. A joint effort of the French, Americans, and countless hard workers, the statue was to be built in France and shipped by boat to America. In the years before the statue was built, criticism was raised.
I guess maybe some of y'all don't understand the spell here. I guess I'll come back. Alright, so what does this represent? This is the helix structure of the DNA in your body. This is symbolic of the embodiment of enlightenment. There's a genetic structure in your body connected to your connection to the metaphysical. This being the embodiment of ultimate supreme metaphysical understanding and enlightenment would have the supreme genetic structure connected to this metaphysical connection.
Same man who designed France's Eiffel Tower, Alexandre Gustave Eiffel. A joint effort of the French, Americans, and countless hard workers, the statue was to be built in France and shipped by boat to America. In the years before the statue was built...
Pretty funny, dude said, so they put her, quote-unquote, in Queens. Yeah, they put her in Queen, like a drag queen. That's hilarious.
Before the statue was built, criticism was raised that she should be designed by an American artist. That, and the fact that it took many years to raise sufficient American funds to build Lady Liberty's pedestal, stalled the project's progress for many years. However, she was presented to the Americans on Independence Day in 1884, was finally shipped early the next year, and was...
There's nothing creepy at all about this gigantic freaking face right here, huh? We're probably... This probably doesn't count as a graven image or idolatry, huh? Building, like, literally gigantic statues in idols. I'm sure somehow this isn't idolatry though, huh? Christians.
84 was finally shipped early the next year and was ultimately opened in New York Harbor in 1886. Many new Americans immigrating to the country by boat were welcomed by the Statue of Liberty upon their arrival. This helped lead to her status as a symbol for the country. A poem inscribed on her base bears the famous lines, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," and welcome settlers to the New World. Tourists were originally open to travel up to Lady Liberty's crown to view the harbor below, as well as making a narrow climb up to the torch. However, the torch has been closed to visitors since the First World War. In preparation...
Alright, we get it. The Statue of Liberty was dragged from France into Queens. And it's Lucifer. Yeah. So they decided to build a tranny. They dragged it away from France, and then they put it up in Queens. Alright. Cool story. And of course, this is once again symbolic of the Torch of Enlightenment. Prometheus brought fire. Luciferian Doctrine. I just wanted to see something to scale. So we build... literally symbolic of America, which we looked up the etymology. It just means the work ruler. Okay, so symbolic of the work ruler and quote unquote freedom, we have a literal gigantic statue holding a torch. That's a tranny. That's what we have. We're really knocking it out of the park, America. Oh, we have a tranny, but it's okay. It's not a statue or idolatry because it's about freedom. Why can I not just get etymology, man? My goodness. Old English, freedom, power of self-determination, state of free will, emancipation from slavery, deliverance. This is talking about, guys, please pay attention to this. Emancipation from slavery. This is just like the Matrix, dude. They're telling you, they interpreted the order of the original estate, which would be heaven, as to be slavery. Neo, do you believe in free will? No. Why not? I don't like to feel like I'm not in control of my own life. And then Morpheus says, I know exactly what you mean. Okay, this is what the slavery is talking about. We've been emancipated from the slavery that is the wool being pulled over your eyes. When God made you, you can't see beyond the veil. You're just a slave, just like he told Neo. What if I told you you're just a slave and you were put here with wool pulled over your eyes? Okay, this is the whole idea that illumination and Luciferian doctrine, Lucifer will actually himself help free you, emancipate you from the slavery. That's what this is talking about. Power of self-determination, free will, do as thou wilt, emancipation from slavery, deliverance. Okay, so we have the icon of freedom, a giant statue of Helios. And this is the statue representing America, which means high ruler. Okay, so freedom in America, which is, of course, emancipation from the slavery of God's order, in the country attributed to the high ruler, which is Lucifer, which has been embodied with Osiris, for example, which is why we had 13 original colonies, because he was broken up into 14 pieces. They only found 13 of them, put them back together. We had a United States, a unification of the 13 pieces of disembodied body parts of your boy Osiris, man of many names. And now we have a torch representing the fire brought from Prometheus, the Luciferian doctrine, the transsexual representing the mastering of duality and Baphomet, and this is a statue identical to Helios, all the way down to the very crown that Helios wore. So this represents our country. Mumsy Bear, shout out to Mumsy Bear for the $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. Much appreciated, as is all support. You're a legend. Thank you. Yeah, thanks, y'all. Are the best. Alright. And if anyone sent anything on Cash App or PayPal, I'm not going to leave y'all hanging. I'll check it at the end. I'm going to check them at the end every time. Every stream. Alright. So let's just move on. Alright, so now that we've covered that Helios is being referenced everywhere, including, again, Trump's freaking 66th floor. Okay, so we know, of course, Sunday. Well, we have sun worship everywhere. You should know this, or you're not even close to being awake. So let's check out, get an idea of what is this entity being reverenced over and over by all these powerful people throughout the history of mankind. They think it tracks their bloodlines, their royal bloodlines, all the way back to the Aryans, back to Atlantis, all about Helios. So what exactly is that?
Helios is the sun god in Greek mythology. He is a titan, son of Hyperion and Thea, with Selene as his sister, the goddess who personifies the moon. The sun god, after being awakened by the rooster, which is the animal consecrated to the solar god, started his journey. Every day, the god ascends in his chariot of fire, driven by 4 powerful flying steeds, ready to go after the goddess Eos, who announces the dawn of a new day. Helios completes an extensive journey from his palace in the east to the western ocean, where he sets himself. After diving into the waters, the god allows his horses to graze on the Elysian fields, and at night, the god returns to the east, sailing in a golden boat made in the forges of the god Hephaestus. Helios, when he is completing his route, has a privileged view of the whole world around him, and so he can know everything that happens during daylight. The god witnessed the abduction of Persephone by Hades, and also Aphrodite sleeping with Ares.
Dude, NASA needs to hire this guy. This is the best picture I've ever seen of the globe Earth. This is the best evidence to date of the globe Earth, objectively. This is impressive. NASA needs to step their game up. I mean, it's 2020. They can't even give us cartoons this good. I mean, at least we're being told about Apollo here, you know.
Everything that happens during daylight. The god witnessed the abduction of Persephone by Hades, and also caught Aphrodite sleeping with Ares, the god of war.
Wow.
But the sun god had his shine eclipsed by Apollo, another solar deity. In much of the Hellenic world, the cult of Helios was replaced by the cult of the god Apollo, the Bright One. The Olympian god even replaced Helios in most myths, where the latter was once the main character. The most famous myth with Helios is certainly the one in which the god lets out his son, Phaeton, drive the solar car. But even in this myth, the god lost his space to Phoebus Apollo, yet there is a place in Greece where the cult of Helios kept its importance, the island of Rhodes. There, a huge colossus of bronze was built, honoring the god. This gigantic statue was considered one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. In ancient Rome, Helios was worshipped by the name Sol Invictus and had great prestige among the legion soldiers. In homage to this god, scientists gave the name of helium to one of the elements of the periodic table.
Wow.
This element, together with hydrogen, constitutes...
Wait, how convenient that this magic spinning ball of gas in a vacuum that is constituted to be the sun, that's supposedly 93 million miles away, and it just looks like it's exactly the same size as the moon, even though it's actually 400 times bigger than the moon, just coincidentally exactly 400 times further away, making it just appear to be the same size as the moon in the sky, so that we can have perfect eclipses. This is actually just a body of gas in a vacuum. Oh, what gas, you ask? Oh, helium. Because of course, you know, we have to get our sun worship back in here somehow. I mean, get real, guys. I mean, come on. You know, we got to get helium in there somehow. Like, what a freaking clown world, dude. Are you kidding me? Thank you very much, Nikki Berry. Awesome name. And thank you very much for the support. $20.99 super chat. Means a lot. Y'all are the best. And thank you very much. Y'all are the reason I can do what I do. And hopefully, we'll just get to where we can do it full time. And I'll give y'all so much content, y'all are going to get sick of me. Anyway, thank you again. And, yeah, guys. Helium. How do they figure out that the sun's made of helium, you may ask? I'm glad you asked. It's called spectroscopy, also known as pseudoscientific nonsense, where of course you have local spectroscopy where you have a controlled closed environment, and it's actually pretty useful as to being able to determine the element makeup of something. But whenever you then look out into space, a supposed uncontrolled vacuum of 10 to the negative 17 torr where gas pressure just sits adjacent but nothing happens, the natural law of second law of thermodynamics literally just doesn't take place for the first time ever in the history of mankind. Everything changes, and we can still look out there using spectroscopy with an open system, in fact an infinitely expanding system, and we can then look at a cloud between us and the sun. This is really what they tell us. This is really what they want us to believe. That we looked at a cloud in the vacuum of space between us and the sun, and via spectroscopy and interpretations of reflections using data compilation and computer generation, we can actually then reverse engineer the makeup and elements of the sun. That's actually what they do. That's what they do. You heard it here first. I explained it better than freaking Harvard's going to explain. That's literally what they do. It's literally what they do. Couldn't make it up. Hit the Rogan, please. And if you don't know, it's called the Rogans because Joe Rogan looks oddly similar to a living, breathing, talking midget human thumb. And of course, he's clearly a sodomite-controlled opposition for Mossad, CIA, tomato. He can only tell you whatever he's supposed to. He's controlled opposition for younger men so that you don't know what you need to do to be a strong young male, but he actually wants you to make you a gamma male, a secret king, where here, you know, let's talk about all kinds of butt sex and sodomy, and then here, I'll sell you a penis pill because you're sunken in depravity and a squirt boy draining all your male life force while watching runaways get plowed on the internet while you just walk around completely drained of anything that you possibly have. There's no way you could ever actually, you know, be a man, so here's a boner pill, and here's some DMT. Don't you want to be special and see the little green people? Thank you for the $10 super chat. Smash the Rogans up. You're the man, Steve, and me. Always here to help a brother out. Even though I'm not a brother, as you can see from my pigment. In a world okay, so what's up with light? What's going on with all the light? I wonder. Well, let's just go ask the Masonic Lodge of Education themselves. Literally, Masonic Lodge of Education.com. Okay. Entered Apprentice Mason. What do I got to do to be a creepy little grab other than play dress up in the dark with other grown men and just be a psychopath? Well, what do Freemasons seek? light. Light represents knowledge. All Freemasons continually seek more knowledge. Okay, if you're interested in reading the intricacies of the occultic crabblers and the brainwashed indoctrination doctrine that they give everyone whenever they're just an apprentice, I will link this in the description. So here's a book called The Secret Teachings of the Masonic Lodge, John Ankerberg. Let us take a look at the number of great Bible classes for men which have been organized by the church. Many of these classes are being led by enlightened Masons. You may say, Austin, why did you bring that up? Well, because what we found out here is there's a reoccurring theme in all of these religions all around the world. All of them, Austin? Oh, all of them. That's right, they all coexist within an ideology of illumination, being synonymous to knowledge and thus ultimately a metaphysical state wherein which you peak out or climax. That's right, coexist. Islam, Buddhism, science, which is equals MC squared is actually antithetical to science, and that of course is saying that energy and matter are interchangeable, which there may be some truth to that because the actual manifestation of matter appears to be intrinsically designed within the actual medium it encompasses in. Like Tesla said, actually, whenever the ether is thrown into infinitesimal worlds or prodigious worlds of velocity, so infinitesimal, prodigious worlds of velocity just means very tiny, super fast worlds of velocity, the actual ether itself manifests as matter. If this energy was to reside, it would revert back into the ether itself, so there is potentially some type of viability to the idea of energy and mass being interchangeable in an idea, because that's what really both of those are. And of course, mass is just a reification of gravity into a compilation of matter, an attempt to quantify maybe what you cannot. And of course, energy is nothing more than a conceptual idea of doing work. What does that even mean? In fact, you would have to be able to adequately define what a field is to know what energy is, and the way that I see it, which, hey, I'm just some college dropout, take it or leave it. A field accurately defined, which at high levels of academia still can't do this and admit they can't accurately define definitively what a field is. Anyway, it's very simply autonomous exchange of energy. It's just perpetual energy. It's autonomous. It's self-governing. That's the only thing that a field is, the only type of field that there could be. A real field is perpetual, self-governing, autonomous exchange of energy. So what is energy? Well, of course, it is the byproduct of the pressure mediation within a field accurately defined. I don't really know why I broke all that down, but oh yeah, because of the E equals MC squared. Sorry, I digress. So we got Islam, Buddhism, science, quote unquote, Judaism, with a nice little hexagram, which is actually a sexagram, sacred geometry, paganism. Well, that's not much of the world. And then Wiccan, okay, and Christian. Yes, that's correct, even Christian, that's right. So all of these, they're the same religion. That's right. The religion of Christianity is tied in with all of these religions. They all are about light. They're all about light. And when you take the doctrine of men and you interpret that way, certainly when it pertains to this last one, Christian, which is just a title that was used to actually make fun of us, and it was a derogatory term written by the Greek authors, but I digress. The point is that it's all about light, and whenever you don't know how to interpret it or pray for discernment or actually want to know what the truth is, and you just build your entire worldview and belief upon the doctrine of men, well, you go around and sound like a crazy person, and basically you believe what every other religion believes. So then we have right here, we are one. Of course, we have the pseudoscientific globe earth ball right there, which of course couldn't ever happen because water doesn't bend convexly around the exterior of a spinning sphere going 11 vectors in a vacuum. That defies physics. But of course, we have all the world's religions. So you say, Austin, there is no way that all the world's religions, I'm a special boy, I'm a Catholic or a Methodist or a Baptist, and I know everything. My preacher's the special boy of the special boys, even though he probably thinks we live on a magic spinning ball. He probably signed a 503(c) or whatever it's called. He probably constantly takes all kinds of money and doesn't give it to the poor. He doesn't actually believe the scriptures. He skips right past the actual literal description of the earth itself, but somehow you're going to get in your feelings because I'm going to expose to you that Christianity in modern terms, the misapplication of the idea of following Christ, which is just a title, his name was Yeshua, not Jesus anyway, has actually been heavily grabbled and manipulated, and most of the people that think that they're actually seeking the truth, speaking the truth, they are not. They're simply doing it for societal currency, and this has been a very concerted effort to do this, meticulous, concerted effort, so that this could actually be infiltrated. And you might want to ask yourself if this is all just a fairy tale and Yeshua is some type of religious, fabrication that was used to control people. Why must they spend hundreds and hundreds of years and billions of dollars and all kinds of resources to come in and change the story? Why do they have to do that? Oh, I don't know, but Austin, if I just act like you didn't ask that question, it'll make it all go away. So anyway, again, now you understand. Let us take a look at the number of great Bible classes for men which have been organized by the church. Many of these classes are being led by enlightened Mason. These laymen are bringing to the interpretation of the Bible many of Masonry's great revelations, secret teachings of Masonic Lodge. I will, of course, link this also. Moving on. Okay, so the symbolism of Freemasonry by Albert Mackey. We're going to come down here. Wait for it. Wait for it. If you want to read the Grabblers, you know I'll link it. Okay, this is annoying. Okay, here we go. So, the rite of entrusting and the symbolism of light. Now, we're not going to read all this, but we're going to read a little bit of it. Here we go. The rite of entrusting, to which we are now to direct our attention, will supply us with many important and interesting symbols. There's an important period in the ceremony of Masonic initiation when the candidate is about to receive a full communication of the mysteries through which he has passed, and to which the trials and labors which he has undergone can only entitle him. This ceremony is technically called the rite of entrusting, because it is then that with the aspirant begins to be entrusted with that for the possession of which he was seeking. It is equivalent to what in the ancient mysteries was called the autopsy, or the seeing of what only the initiated were permitted to behold. This is, of course, alluding to the metaphysical beyond the veil. This rite of entrusting is, of course, divided into several parts or periods, for the aporeta, or secret things of Masonry, are not to be given at once but in gradual progression. It begins, however, with the communication of light, which, although but a preparation for the development of the mysteries which are to follow, must be considered as one of the most important symbols in the whole science of Masonic symbolism. So important, indeed, is it, and so much does it pervade with its influence and its relations the whole Masonic system, that Freemasonry itself anciently received, among other appellations, that of lux, or light, to signify that it is to be regarded as the sublime doctrine of divine truth, by which the path of him who has attained it is to be illuminated in his pilgrimage of life. Okay. I mean, you see why they think they're little special boys. They're not smart enough to know that this is just poetic nonsense. The Hebrew cosmogonists commences his description of the creation by the declaration that God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Of course, he made the sun after that. A phrase which, in the more emphatic form that it has received in the original language of "be light," and "light was," is said to have won the praise for its sublimity of the greatest of Grecian critics. The singularity emphatic summons, says a profound modern writer, by which light is called into existence is probably owing to the preeminent utility and glory of that element, together with its mysterious nature, which made it seem as the God of this new world, and won for it the earliest adoration of mankind. Alright, I'm not going to keep on reading, but here we go. Light was, in accordance with this old religious sentiment, the great object of attainment in all ancient religious mysteries. It was there, as it is now, in Masonry, made the symbol of truth and knowledge. This was always its ancient symbolism, all the way back to Luciferian Doctrine and Godriel himself, and we must never lose sight of this emblematic, I don't know how to say the word, emblematic? Oh my gosh, I feel retarded. When we are considering the nature and signification of Masonic light, when the candidate makes a demand for light, it is not merely for that material light. Light isn't material. What a stupid phrase. Oh my gosh. Which is to remove a physical darkness. That is, you don't remove darkness. Darkness isn't a thing. It's the absence of light, and light isn't material. You see this little secret kings, they're not nearly as smart and profound as they think they are. They're actually idiots. Which conceals the inward symbolism. He craves an intellectual illumination which will dispel the darkness of mental and moral ignorance and bring to his view as an eyewitness the sublime truths of religion, philosophy, and science, which it is the great design of Freemasonry to teach. So anyway, I will link this, just straight up telling you it's a pretty long chapter about the importance of light, and you can understand the esoteric Gnostic importance of it if you somehow don't already. Who's this creepy psychopath? Helena Blavatsky. Of course, pretty infamous, most people know her. Controversial, brilliant, and enigmatic Helena Petrovna I don't know how to say her middle name. Blavatsky was a defining character of the 19th century. A celebrity of epic proportions, Blavatsky's activities and travels were chronicled by newspapers around the fake pseudoscientific globe. Labeled as an esoteric pioneer, a charlatan, a powerful mystic, an ingenious impostor, a saintly genius, a hedonist, a master of the wisdom, the fascination that surrounded Helena was universal, with her supporters and detractors each ardently engaged in vocalizing their opinions of her. Whatever, dude. Shut up. So one of the things in this article I have popped over here for us. Actually, I have not, so just a second. In a world... I can't make it big enough. Anyway, I will link a link to that too, because I can't even zoom in. So back to the article. In a world... See if I can zoom in over here. Okay. Ancient and... Does that say primitive? Ancient and primitive rite of masonry. Anyway, so the point here was that this little graveler here... We, the thrice illustrious Sovereign Grand Master General, do declare and proclaim our illustrious and enlightened brother, Blavatsky, to be an apprentice, companion, perfect mistress, sublime elect Scots lady, grand elect, something in French, something in something, perfect venerable mistress, and a crowned princess of right of adoption. Oh, what a cool story! Whether we choose to acknowledge a tremendous monumental zeal for spreading the light of wisdom, I skipped the whole sentence. Whether we choose to acknowledge a tremendous gift she gave humanity, each person alive today is indebted to Blavatsky for her monumental zeal for spreading the light of wisdom, strength, the beauty across our planet. Wow. May her divine light shine perpetual, may it illuminate even the darkest recesses of the world. The Theosophical movement includes all efforts that led to human freedom and enlightenment. Masonry has played and is still playing an important part in the world. For first, its main idea of the brotherhood of man, even though it's a limited and restricted sense. Second, Masonry debars from its lodges all considerations of politics or religions, recognizing those to be the greatest provocatives of dissensions. Third, it is the implacable enemy of religious intolerance. It was through Masonry and Masons in the United States of America was made possible. Brother Helena Blavatsky, which psychopathic, whatever. Okay, so Transcendental Magic. This comes from Transcendental Magic. It's Doctrine and Ritual by Eliphas Levi. And here we go, right here. So, and these are, let's just read it right here. So, fundamental realities. On penetrating into the sanctuary of the Kabbalah, one is seized with the admiration of the sight of doctrine, so logical, so simple, and at the same time so absolute. The essential union of ideas and signs, the consecration of the most fundamental realities by primitive characters, the trinity of words, letters, and numbers, a philosophy simple as the... Dude, by the way, just so you understand, the fact that a letter can represent a number is one of the biggest, like, Gnostic secrets there is. It's really not even... None of the big deal secrets is even complicated. That's why they had to hide them so meticulously, because everything's simple. Everything. Divinity is simplicity. Anyway, these are the entire elements of the Kabbalah. These are the component principles of the written word, reflection of the spoken word, which created the worlds. All truly dogmatic religions have issued from the Kabbalah and returned therein. Whatsoever is grand or scientific in the religious dreams of all the illuminated, don't care about their names, is borrowed from the Kabbalah. All Masonic associations owe it to their secrets and their symbols. The Kabbalah alone consecrates the alliance of universal reason and the divine word. It establishes by the counter whatever of two forces apparently opposed, the eternal balance of being. It only reconciles reason with faith, power, with liberty, science, and mystery. It has the keys of the present, past, and future. To become initiated into the Kabbalah, it is insufficient to read and to meditate upon the writings of these other grabblers. It's necessary to study and to understand the Hebrew writers and the collection of these other words I don't care to read. So anyway, here you go. It breaks down the importance of enlightenment within Kabbalah, which is, of course, one of the most powerful freaking ideologies that rule everything. Here you go. Helios is literally, that's what the Statue of Liberty is, which we just covered that, but they're literally the same thing. So, the entire country, all the etymology of the words, every bit of it, it's all about Helios. Dang, let me come back over here for a sec before... In a world. What's up, everybody in the chat? I'm gonna take a second because I know I just read a lot. I'm sorry. I hate doing it too. I just feel like, I know a lot of people aren't gonna read it unless I read it during the stream. Hopefully, some of these pieces have been put together. We're gonna do a conclusion, momenta. All right, let me go ahead and do some housekeeping. Surely y'all followed some of that. I mean, sorry I haven't been reading the chat though. Okay. In the world. Shout out Mike for safe travels, my friend. May y'all be with you. Thank you very much. And thank you for the help towards the travels. And my boy Michael, also known as Michael Lyon. And me with the freaking $100 on Cash App. Thank you very much, bro. Super appreciated. That helps a ton. Both you, Mike and Michael, helped a ton. Y'all are awesome. And gonna help me with the beginning of this little tour idea. So thank you guys. Much love. And thanks for sending it on Cash App so I can get it without the grabblers taking a third of it 3 months later. Jacob, you sent me $5 this morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you. You're killing it lately. Appreciate it, Jacob. Thank you for the $5 on Cash App. Now we're caught up on Cash App. We're going to go over here real fast to PayPal. My boy Jake Fletcher, also a Patreon. Shout out for that. Says, I'm very grateful that you're helping to break the Grabbler spells. I hope this helps a bit towards your bills. Thanks for keeping it real, man. It does indeed. Thank you for the $50 on PayPal. What a legend. Y'all are all legends. And yeah, it does help, bro. It does. And thank you very much. It means a lot. Really, thank all of you guys for the help. I will buy a plane ticket tomorrow. Alright, now we got caught up. I'll check again before the stream is over. And shout out to the people dropping lemons. Oh, on cue, my man dropped a freaking Lambo. Coming this summer in a clown world. Ostradamus predicts grabbling. Thank you very much, Lido Bear, for the Lambo. You're the man. I think. But thank you. Appreciate it. Buy the ticket. I'm going to buy a ticket tomorrow, man. My goodness. Anyway. Thanks for all the help. And if anybody wants to keep, hey guys, if you guys want to keep helping with the tour, we'll just freaking tour the whole United States. That's the main thing that's holding us back is just the money thing. But thank you guys. And in a world, here we go. I'm zooming in a little bit. All right. Again, sun, idea of light, that's super gravel. We won't even talk about it. We're going to run through this so you get where we're about to go. Here we go. This is going to be quick, but, it is what it is. I've said it like 3 times almost. So, here we go. Okay, so whenever the sun sets, it sets. It, of course, is not sitting still when you fall backwards as it's static, appearing to move. That's crazy nonsense land. Everyone that's always known anything about the world would know that it was a geocentric stationary plane, as did all the ancient civilizations. And, of course, they were more advanced than you were told. And, of course, they constantly revered, worshipped, and deified the sun, tracking all the way back to Atlantis. Atlantis was, of course, an antediluvian era that many people seem to think it was science fiction, but all of the Gnostic belief systems tie back, supposedly, their blood to the race that stemmed from this ancient civilization, the first peak of enlightenment. And, of course, this is where you get Aryans. We have this little creepy grabbler that wrote about them, but everyone knows they're real if you do any research. And again, this is where you supposedly get the Aryan race tracking back to Atlantis. This is where you get the swastika, which was found all over the entire world. It actually symbolizes the Big Dipper and how it moves around the center of the point in the 4 seasons. It also represents peace, etc., etc. It's been super grabbled, told you something that has something to do with ethnic supremacy so that you won't be able to see the grabbler spells really in less than a century that they're casting onto us with Donald Trump himself. And of course, even in the early 1900s within the United States itself, U.S. Army Boeings had swastikas on there. This is all tracked back to the Aryans. They had to hide that part of history so they could bring about the new Golden Dawn or the new Golden Age, the same type of Golden Age that had pre-existed with the Aryan ideologies, but they had to remove it from history in modern times so that you wouldn't put it together. Anyway, so we looked at the video of Trump's freaking 66th floor on his penthouse. It's got a mirroring effect, as above, so below. It's covered in gold. It's got the two towers all throughout it to represent the duality within the Gnostic belief system. And of course, it has nothing but pagan beliefs and practices all throughout it. Statues. Here we go with an actual angel, just like, I don't know, stilling a woman, and this is cool, I guess. And yeah, so Donald Trump, who, you know, this is called the Golden Dawn. He straight up all around him is Apollo worship. We have an angel stilling a woman. We have Apollo led in his chariot. We have the sun represented here. And then, of course, on that same cylinder across from it, we have literally Apollo in the clouds. Okay, so yeah, anyway, moving on. So we watched a quick little video of the Colossus of Rhodes. This is just a giant structure built back in the day that is identical basically to the Statue of Liberty, and it's about Helios. Of course, literally the Statue of Liberty is the same exact thing as we just discussed. So, yeah, this is the America, and everything was built about Osiris, which ties back to Helios and Apollo, and there's been all kinds of disconnection from the interpretation and expressions of these ancient religions because of, dare I say, the Tower of Babel being broke up in different languages. They founded America, had 13 colonies, symbolic of the 13 pieces that were dismembered but then put back together of Osiris. Of course, they did not find the 14th piece. The story goes that Isis, being the incestuous psychopathic mother that she was, actually put together a gold phallus symbol to replace it and impregnated herself after the 13 pieces that they could get together were put back. That's why we have 13 colonies founding America. They were United States because you unified the parts of Osiris. Of course, every single part of the words that they use have secret meanings. If you just look at the etymologies alone, we looked at the fact that president means sitting before, that America means work ruler, and that freedom means something else that's just stupid. So, oh yeah, freedom is of course representing the revolution from enslavement, as was to the original estate of the angels leaving, not having to adhere to the logos and order, the heavenly order. So that's what freedom is, and of course this is a symbol of America's freedom, which would be Lucifer's freedom from the order that God gave him. America's freedom would be the work ruler, which is Lucifer, the supposed grand architect's freedom. So this is a literal symbol of the rebellion itself from the heavenly estate and the freedom acquired and supposedly achieved by Lucifer and his followers. That's what this represents. Of course, the torch, Prometheus brought fire to humans. You got the Olympics, track back to it. It represents illumination and enlightenment from Lucifer. We watched the history of Helios, so of course just the sun god, no big deal, coming to the sky in chariot, little magic special boy. On the Masonic website for the apprentice, which is the low level that don't really know anything. Most of them don't know what's going on until they hit about 32nd degree. Most of them are too incompetent to even do that or to retain information at an efficient rate. I've had a couple tell me that if you don't actually retain the information at efficient rates, it doesn't really matter if you do eventually. They'll let you jump up there, but they'll kind of keep you at arm's length because they think you're stupid. So just interesting little tidbit there. So what do Freemasons seek? Light. Light represents knowledge. All Freemasons continuously seek more knowledge. Here we go from the Secret Teachings of the Masonic Lodge. Let us take a look at the number of great Bible classes for men which have been organized by the church. Many of these classes are being led by enlightened Masons. These laymen are bringing to the interpretation of the Bible many of Masonry's great revelations. Of course, we're talking about how every single religion in the world is about light. Light this, light that, illumination, light the dark, light. And of course, this is an inversion of the truth that God separated the darkness from the light originally prior to making the sun. But, you know, what's new? The grabblers always invert things. Here's another Masonic literature, the right of entrusting the symbolism of light, breaking it down for you, how it's deeper than just the word illumination. It's deeper than just the word knowledge. Moving on. Helena Blavatsky, of course, a psychopathic little crazy person. Here she is breaking down to you the importance of enlightenment and what light really represents and the entire connection into the idea of Luciferianism, of course. She said that Lucifer wasn't the right name and called him Satan. Of course, Lucifer is just a title, so she's kind of accurate, you know. And of course, the Kabbalah is all about enlightenment and light and blah, 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 blah. Okay, now let me see. I think I have something else. No, maybe not. Alright, so I say we just wrap it all together then. We're about to just wrap it all together, guys. Michael Line. That was for the ticket or whatever, bro. I love everything you're doing. Thank you very much, bro. And yes, it will go straight to the ticket. So thank you. You're helping me get the plane ticket. So I appreciate it. Everything you do to help out everything that I do. You know what I'm saying? Alright. All right, so here we go. We're just going to have a chat now, okay? So the name of the stream is The Golden Dawn. This little creepy graveler, right? The Golden Dawn. We talked about last night. This guy, some people say this guy is going to be the final impersonation of this guy, embodiment of this guy. I don't know, but applying that would be Trump rolling out the prosperity funds and helping unify the world under peace and prosperity via gold and precious metals. Which who better to do that than Donald Trump? But nevertheless. What we're going to talk about is there's 1,000 points of light. You've inverted the millennial reign. There's a millennial reign of Christ. Okay, they're going to have the idea of the golden age, the golden dawn, the reign of light, 1,000 points of light. It's an inversion of everything because literally Lucifer is just like the first secret king, and he inverts everything because he's jealous of God. I mean, it's actually that simple. He's a special boy, gamma male secret king, basically. He has that energy. If you have that type of energy, certainly extremely, then you probably have something to do with, like, Luciferian energy. I don't know how else to put that. So anyway, so the truth is that clearly we are watching a charade of sorts, right? And the world's just a stage, and we're watching basically the at least illusion of a battle between the light and the dark within the same faction of Luciferianism. So I broke it down earlier. It's do as thou wilt. You can choose to do anything within that, right? You can murder defenseless babies. You can be sunken into depravity. You can stand up for the idea of morality on the surface, still being obsessed with oneself, still being obsessed with subjective morality, the idea of being a god yourself, not having to adhere to any type of linear code of ethics that was made bigger than you. But this is the idea of being enlightened, transmutation, the conquering of duality, being a little special boy. And so you have light and dark both within the overall ideology of do as thou wilt, if you want to put it very simply, okay? And so these people that are running around and they're saying that Trump's bad, and then we're like, it's not like now that we find out Trump could literally be the Antichrist, that the people that say Trump's bad and called him the Antichrist the whole time, that they're now by default right, because they're not. They're actually running around amping up the dark side of the faction. You have very powerful people. They're all within this Gnostic belief system. They're all Luciferian. Some of them go a very morbid, dark route within this idea of enlightenment. And it's more of a what people would call satanic, but it's just literally it's just duality within the same doctrine. And so you have one side that's just way out in the side of depravity, more so, right? It's like I said, it's like bad and worse. It's not like there's no good anywhere. So these people running around, even though they've been saying Trump's bad, they're sunken in depravity. They're representing the faction of the dark side within the bigger faction. If you're supporting Trump, you're supporting the same faction. That's all there is to it. It isn't complicated. It doesn't matter if it hurts your feelings. It doesn't matter if you want to send me an email and tell me that Trump's going to save the day and that you're a patriot and we landed on the moon. It doesn't matter. We landed on a rock that spins in a medium that defies physics. How dare you millennials? How dare you question Trump, my savior, who makes me put MAGA, the top level of a satanic priesthood, over my forehead? But anyway, so basically what they're trying to bring about is to create the scenario where in which an update is needed. I've been telling you guys this for months, and what this is ultimately going to be is they're going to have a figure. I think it does appear it could be this guy. They might have another figure though. I don't know. I'm not going to tell you guys I know, but the point is it's pretty hilarious. The Golden Dawn. I mean, come on. But his name does have crazy synchronicities everywhere when it pertains to like who's going to try to rein in the idea of what this guy supposedly set up, right? And if you want to just ignore it, it's whatever. It's the safer route because it sounds crazy to you. You think it's improbable, so if you just don't ever say anything about it, then that way you're good. If it doesn't happen, and you can act like you knew you were right and someone else was wrong the whole time, but you're being scared to even formulate opinions prior to the fact. And what that means is if we are in fact facing the Great Deception, at any point in time, whenever that does happen, in whatever form or fashion that it does happen, you will not be ready. You will certainly not go around waking people up and stuff because, right, you're just going to bite your tongue and make sure that you maintain this facade of being right to people or whatever. So, anyway, so to recap everything, and then maybe we'll cover a little bit of Clown World. I feel like I've been already streaming for a while. I don't know what time it is. I haven't been streaming that long, actually. An hour and 20 minutes. So, anyway, basically what it is we just covered it, but, Trump, Apollo, Helios, everywhere. America itself, Helios. Make America great again. That's the work we're talking about. Lucifer. Statue of Liberty, Lucifer. Light Bearer. Illumination, the Torch. Prometheus, brought the fire. Transsexual. Conquering duality. Baphomet. Everything that has to do with America, making America great, is satanic, more so Luciferian. So MAGA is the top level of priesthood, Satanhood. But of course, it's just the idea of making Nimrod, the great ruler, great again, right? And so that's what's going to go on here. And the way that this is done, the way it was done every other time, is with peace and prosperity and gold, right? And think about how stupid people are. They just go somewhere. If they just started like showing people gold, they would just fold. They like, you could just give someone a gold coin and they'd sell their soul nowadays. It's that pathetic. So anyway, we all know where this is clearly going. In my opinion, still to this day, yes, January 6th, after the chaotic clown world that is, and people still think I'm crazy for thinking Trump's going to win, I think he retains power. Is it in America? I find it probable. I think that one of the other scenarios is that he does somehow have to leave, then he comes back in 2024 and he has 8 years. Either way, I think Donald Trump is the one that will be cast in the world play as a hero. He already was. It hasn't really started yet. He will roll out the updates to the infrastructure, and then eventually all tying back to him, giving him credit, attributing it to him, will be this new infrastructure, a smart city, a prosperous new America, where no longer we have debt, no longer do we have crazy disconnections of people not being able to get access to their funds, get access to jobs, get access to food. We have a new updated smart infrastructure, and it's going to be built around the central hubs of these central banks scattered throughout the United States. There will be more riots regardless of the outcome here. They will be targeted toward these areas, as were the first round of riots, very particularly targeted to 34 of the 37 locations of central banks in America, where in which you can actually remove the infrastructure, effectively leveling the construction site, buy the real estate for pennies on the dollar, then update the infrastructure around the central banking systems that will effectively be the hub in the new grid system that has the new electronic currency system, and you will create the smart cities around the leveled city, buying it very cheaply, and you will create this grid system tactically with certain geographical alignments, and now you will have your new infrastructure tied in with the 5G towers, which have incredible download speeds and a lack of latency. Of course, you have to put them everywhere, but that also is mutually beneficial for just surveillance purposes alone. You then put a network of transmission triangulation capabilities up above, just in the case that you need it as a backup. There is no escaping the grid system in theory, is the idea. Depends on how many they put up there, really. I don't know exactly what's up there, neither do you, I promise. And of course, so we have Starlinks put up all over the sky in the same year that they predetermined for decades that they would roll out the idea of a virus, tell you that the flu went away, and then whenever they scare you with the virus, run up the debt, shut down everyone, make them lose their businesses. This was all planned. 2020 was a way that they set up all these different parts of the infrastructure for the new update that is coming, and they'll just say that there's new strands of a virus, there's a new mutation, now more people are dying, now it's getting really bad, oh my gosh, what's going on? They're going to end up swooping in with the new technological advancements of some form of inoculation where in which it's actually effective. They're also going to update the monetary system. That's why they're crippling it right now. It will be an introduction of precious metals. What's the story as to how they got it? I don't know. But effectively what I'm painting the picture for you is that the golden dawn, Donald Trump coming in, giving you the age of peace and prosperity, and once they promise peace and prosperity comes instant destruction, and the deception will be so great that if it were possible, even the very elect would be deceived, and that those days shall be shortened for the elect's sake, because no flesh would survive, and even the church itself goes apostate, supporting the Antichrist, son of perdition, man of lawlessness. That's clearly what we seem to be experiencing or observing a very large possibility of. If it isn't, it's like a trial run, so it's certainly not going to be hard to convince me in the future that the church is going to go apostate and support the Antichrist. They have no idea that Trump could be the Antichrist, as he literally looks into the sky and says, I am the chosen one, while looking at God. While he says that he doesn't have to pray for forgiveness because he just likes to not have to sin. He just doesn't have to worry about that. So I don't like psychopathic Jesuit controlled little puppets that look orange with white around their eyes and have like this crazy looking hair where their wife looks like she's a slave captive, and all he ever does is basically inadvertently talk about how awesome he is, the most arrogant physical vessel I've ever seen embodied, probably ever, and then all we get outside of that is like Operation Warp Speed forcing genetic manipulating vaccines onto the people. Oh, they didn't force it. Okay, well, they've shut down the whole country, and now they've said that the actual solution for this supposed problem are these inoculations that were literally fast-tracked and expedited by Donald Trump with Operation Warp Speed, and it's the first of its kind ever in the history of mankind, a fully 100% synthetic mRNA, which is messenger RNA, using a binding domain. It binds onto and overrides your genetic structure, effectively rewriting your genetic code. And so this is the first time ever, just give us 5 to 7 to 9 months. We're just going to roll it out there. We don't even test the efficacy of any of the vaccines, ever. Normally we have to murder babies. This time we don't have to murder babies, so don't worry, we're not going to trial run it. Just shove it into you, and somehow we're supposed to act like Trump isn't clearly on the same team that they all are. Right? The point is he have a bigger role. They're going to roll out the new system. There's going to be a new monetary system. There's going to be a new internet system. There's going to be a new media system. There's going to be new parts of the government itself. There's going to be a new intel system. There's going to be a new election system. There's going to be a new news station system. There's going to be new everything. Okay? And you may not see it yet, but I encourage you to re-examine. They've already started building it. There's going to be a new everything. There's going to be a new Bill of Rights. Okay, there's going to be a new Internet Bill of Rights. There's going to be a new law about protecting freedom of speech, and the power is going to go to the government. People are going to think it's good. There's going to be a new election system. People are going to say maybe even we go back to paper to ensure, validity. What they will not know is the updated form will come with an overarching encryption software that supposedly protects us. The Pentagon already signed a deal with Pentagon, and the Pentagon's already signed a deal with Microsoft to do that for the whole nation's, protection on an electronic stage, right? 2 years ago. So this whole election thing, it's just all nonsense. We have the idea of Saint Germain being the personification of this very wealthy guy that comes throughout the day, throughout the ages. Now, the New Age idea is that he's here to help people, and he steps in at certain times to steer them in the right way when they're going down the wrong path. People that do all of this astral projection and meditation, trying to find the answers from these ascended masters of the White Brotherhood and these alien extraterrestrial civilizations, all this stuff. Truth is, of course, the metaphysical is real, and you can actually contact entities. Dun dun dun. They tell them that Trump's the embodiment of this. So I don't know, but they seem to think that Trump is the embodiment of Saint Germain. Now, one of the most prominent, more modern people that was attributed to the incarnation of Saint Germain was Francis Bacon. Keep in mind, Francis Bacon supposedly was incredible at basically everything. So now we fast forward to the late 90s. Someone by the name of Francis Bernard proposes legislation to Congress called the National Economic Security and Recovery Act, also the Global Economic Security and Recovery Act. And this is the idea of abolishing the IRS, abolishing income tax, abolishing corruption via re-implementing constitutional adherence, getting rid of taxes other than one baseline tax, an entire economic reformation underneath the idea of draining corruption from the manipulation of our economic system, reintroducing precious metals, and then refacilitating the system after a debt jubilees. This was proposed in the 90s, once again, by Francis Bernard. National Economic Security and Recovery Act, and there's also one proposed for the entire world. Fast forward to 2004, but a handful of years later, Francis Bernard authors the book called Draining the Swamp, Monetary and Fiscal Policy Reform. Now, if you fast forward, of course, we have Trump passing National Economic and Security Recovery Executive Orders, more than one, all about the fiscal year of 2021, which is now. Now we see in 2021, never has the U.S. dollar needed to be saved more in the history of America than it is right now, especially as they run through another few $1 trillion of debt of paper fiat currency. It's not money, of course, it's currency. Money is gold and silver. And so we have this all set up. We have it all set up for him to come in, and they wrote it like they do with everything in basically a little script, and it has different, even fiction novels that they actually pull from. Okay, so Francis Bacon, Saint Germain, Francis Bacon, Francis Bernard, Nassara author, a few years later, writes Draining the Swamp, Monetary and Fiscal Policy Reform. Then Trump comes in, his whole entire slogan, Draining the Swamp, which he of course hasn't done and never will because he's part of the same exact group of people. There's just light and dark within the Luciferian Doctrine for the gazillionth time. They don't even always like each other. They have different lifestyles, but they're all within the same Luciferian ideology. It isn't even hard to get. If I'm on a football team and I don't really like the tailback, that doesn't mean that if he runs a toss to my side, I'm not going to still crack back on the linebacker because I think that the tailback's a jerk. We're on the same team. I'm just not going to kick it with the tailback at the after party. Right? So it isn't complicated. They're all on the same team. He's not here to help you. He's setting up the new infrastructure, and it's happening right now, and it will be under the guise of peace and prosperity masquerading as light. It will not be him getting on stage breathing out fire. It will not be someone coming out breathing out fire with an AR just pulling down the trigger, unloading magazines, talking about you're about to have to get needles shoved into you by force with a gun to your head. It's nothing like that. It's like, oh wow, you're gonna get rid of my debt? Oh, you're gonna get rid of my college debt? Oh, you're gonna get rid of my mortgage? Oh, you're gonna get rid of the American debt? Oh, you're gonna give us gold and silver? You're gonna give us a base introduction of gold and silver backed currency for the new debt jubilees? Oh, you're gonna give us a new intel system, and you're gonna get rid of the Federal Reserve? Oh, you're gonna give us a new protection of constitutional right like freedom of expression and speech? I mean, come on. So, there you go. I'm done. I'm done ranting. Anyway, so yeah, all of these are built around the same idea, the idea of light and illumination and enlightenment, all of it. All of it. So watch out for the Golden Dawn. It seems to be the coming deception. That Donald Trump's going to save the day or something. Shout out to all the legends in D-Live. Thanks for kicking it. Thanks for the lemons. Going to distribute the chests. Distributing the chest over here on D-Live. Shout out to all the legends in YouTube. Oh, I think we got a couple super chats over here. Looking to the Royal Society and the Mud Flood. Will do. Have looked into a bunch of stuff regarding both of those things, to be honest. But I probably could research some more. And thank you for the $1.99 and 99-cent super chat. Thank you very much. Poster Big is a legend. My boy from 24/7 Fire Discord. Beg. What are you talking about? Oh, people will beg for it. Oh, okay. Alright. Well, y'all got my rants. I'm going to double check and make sure nothing else popped on. And I'm going to get out of here. Alright, we're good. So shout out to everyone that sent some stuff to help towards the trip. Y'all are awesome. I have enough to get a plane ticket, so I'll buy a plane ticket tomorrow. And yeah, anybody that wants to support and help towards the trip, yeah, links to the support in the description. PayPal, Cash App preferable. There you go. That's all there is to it. And if you don't know what I'm alluding to, Nathan Thompson and I are going to go on a little tour, maybe even all the way around the U.S. and come back, kind of depending on how it all goes, and play it by ear, and how finances and everything works out. And so I'm flying out, I don't know, 15th or something like that. So it should be cool. Should be cool. Some people need to go out there and speak the truth in the real world while we still can, right? We don't need to just sit here at home and be like, oh, but they censor me. Alright, guys. Let me add the... That video wasn't even working, though, dude. My freaking video wasn't working. Y'all just got a black screen. I was going to say, dude, I like Restream. Maybe it's better than StreamYard. And then they pull something like that out on me where like it's just a black screen on YouTube. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for kicking it. The lemons have been released. Alright. Oh, I was supposed to hit... Guys, if I ever like miss your messages, whether it's a text or something, I'm sorry. I'll try and keep up with everybody. I'm not trying to ignore anybody. I have a few people I think I was supposed to like set out a time to talk to them and stuff. I'll get around to it. I have tons of Instagram, IG DMs and messengers and emails and texts, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying you got to give me some time to get back to it, guys. Anyway, so. Watch out for the coming deception. Still going to come, right? And it looks like Donald Trump is the one that was cast in the role play as a hero. Watch out for the light. What is light? The idea of being enlightened or illuminated or, acquiring secret pieces of knowledge. It may look good on the surface and have some type of allure. You need to step back and understand. The only true understanding and knowledge comes from God, right? And Abba, Father, Yah, and Yeshua. And that's how you really get true discernment. And that's the only way you ever will. And these little creepy grabbers think they know all the secrets. They do not. They're doing nothing but passing down the deceptive secrets and tricks of the Watchers. I mean, they were deceptive when they first got them, and now they're just looping them as if it makes them special. And they're deceptions. Just like in Enoch, God told the Watchers, you thought you brought them your secrets. Little did you know, your secrets are worthless. So put that into perspective. Alright, I'm going to catch up with you on the flip. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. If you'd like to support, links in the description. Much appreciated, and you will get a shout out. Not sure what the next stream is going to be about. Sure, it'll be some gravy if I have some free time. May even go live tomorrow during the day. Yeah, I'll catch up with y'all. If you want to maybe get an update, check me out on Facebook or Instagram. I'll try to remember to put a post out there, but just put a notification bell. Go sign up at DLive. DLive is very good about notifications. I will catch up with y'all tomorrow. Don't know, like I said, what time specifically, or if there'll be 2 streams, or what it'll be about. But we'll figure it out. I hate long goodbyes. Yeah, I do it every single time. I'll catch up with y'all later. Much love. Peace out.
That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force a misinfo that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature to mean extorted it. They forging it. If news anchors informant to informing them there's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this report and ships important gifts. Of course it is what extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informing this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically we in a field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field. That's for Israel. Wonder is it real?